right, our program today is Ila Sutton. She is a fellow Rotarian and an active member of our club. She will be providing the annual Rotary Foundation presentation today. November is Rotary Foundation Month, and in November's message to Rotarians, Rotary International President Ron Barton said the following: "The Rotary Foundation goal has been doing good in this world. We must do the most good we can in the most lasting ways possible for people who need us most." So with that said, our first live stream, Ila Sutton.
Can you hear me? Okay, that's fine. 1, 2, 1, 2. Thank you, Jessica. Yes, it is true. Those who see the invisible have a chance to accomplish the impossible. Rotary International has a legacy of service which uplifts mankind. Now, when I say invisible, I am speaking to the human condition. The human condition that is not altered by sex, race, or class. That is that part in every single human being, and every single person in this room that pursues freedom, pursues health, wants love, security, companionship. Fellow Rotarians, there is a circumstance that undermines the human condition. That is suffering. Now, as Rotarians, we see the invisible, the human condition, and we look at accomplishing the impossible, globally eradicating disease, alleviating poverty, and improving health. Because suffering is caused by disease, man-made disaster, lack of education, and poor health. Yes, it's that time of the month, Rotary Foundation Month, where Rotary International reintroduces to Rotarians and friends of Rotary the Rotary Foundation. Now, last week I sat in a meeting with past President Janice Long, and she said, she's a class act, "We gotta tell the story." Well, guess what? If you will allow me today, I'm going to tell the story for about 10 to 15 minutes. Please allow me. Some of you heard this last year when I stood in front of you. The Rotary Foundation was created in 1917 when Rotary International President said, yes, it is okay to receive contributions for the purpose of doing good around the world. It started with $26.50 at that time. In 2012, fellow Rotarians, 2012, the Rotary Foundation received $181.1 million in contributions, of which it executed approximately $204 million in support of Rotarian-driven programs and projects. It doesn't get any better than that, fellow Rotarians. It does not. And let me articulate this to you. The Rotary Foundation is solely supported by fellow Rotarians and friends of Rotary. We're doing great, and we're doing good things around the world. And I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, because if I didn't welcome our guests and our fellow Rotarians from other locations, let me say welcome today. I'm so excited to present this to you, I kind of overlooked that. Okay, what is the mission of the Rotary Foundation? To advance, well, let me back up, to accomplish the impossible, because we see the invisible. We do so by advancing world understanding, goodwill, and peace in the world. How do we do that? Projects that focus on health, projects that focus on education, projects that focus on alleviating poverty. There are 6 areas of focus of the Rotary Foundation. These 6 areas focus on uplifting the human condition. That condition that is unique to each and every single one of us in this room. And it's not altered by anything. For the purposes of this presentation, I'm going to focus on the first two, if you will allow me. Let's talk about peace and conflict prevention and resolution. Fellow Rotarians, approximately 1 billion children in the world under age 18 live in conflict areas. Our population, fellow Rotarians, is 7 billion. That's 1/7 of the population. Children living in areas where when they lay their head down at night, they're not quite sure if they're going to be bombed or somebody's going to break into their home. That's the situation today. But what is the Rotary Foundation doing? Well, there's a part of the Rotary Foundation that focuses on educational programs. On your table, there's a fact sheet. There's 3 educational programs: ambassadorial scholarships, group study exchange, and Rotarian Peace Centers. There are 6 centers that are located throughout the world that Rotary funds for individuals to receive advanced degrees in peace and conflict resolution. I'm going to show you a clip of 2 individuals who are tied together by Rotary, and they're doing great things. One person is an individual in England, Manchester, England. She saw in her community that the youth only had opportunities to participate in gun and drug violence, and she looked at changing that and making these youth active citizens. Another is an individual in Australia, Melbourne. I'm not quite sure if you're aware, there's a conflict occurring in Sudan where over 4 million people have been displaced. Well, there's an individual in Australia who's working with 22,000 Sudanese youth who have been displaced to Australia because they have opened their doors to immigrants. I have a question before I go to the clip. Would anybody like to tell me, when they look at this image here, this image, what do you see? Mark? Happiness? And someone said a smile? Yes, sir. A smile? Okay. Accomplishment, pride, smile. I love that I'm a Rotarian because you got it already. Let's play the clip.
What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, I'm Arinma. I run my own charity, which is known as Charisma. What we do best is provide positive alternatives for our young people, other than the gun and gang crime, either what they get involved in or more so what they get stereotyped. The time now is 15:27. You're listening to Sisters on Me. One of our biggest achievements is Peace FM. You can manage the conflict and then stop it from escalating. It gives us the opportunity to actually speak about us from our perspective. And I think that's important as to why we do what we do, because we want a peaceful community to live in. I spent 3 months at Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok. There was, I think, 17 of us from 14 different countries. And not only do you learn from the lecturers who came, but you also learn from each other as well. That's Charlie, who's a police officer from Australia. And I think we kind of like clicked and found similarities in our work, especially when I talked about the radio station.
Rinma and the work that she has done in the UK directly correlates with what I do in Melbourne.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Whilst they are Sudanese born in Sudan, now that they've moved to Melbourne, they become Australians. But if you ask them where would you like to be, they'd rather go back home. And so what I went to talk to them about was basically make the most of this opportunity.
There's a lot of trouble in the community, and not everyone wants to be a leader, like a lot of wrong ways, and everyone's just choosing the wrong ways because they're easier to get into. No one wants to stand out and be the hero.
Rinma, she opened a Sudanese leadership development program. She actually switched the minds on to this concept of being an active citizen.
What do you guys do all along? We came up with the idea through the youth leadership program. And we thought, hey, let's apply what we've learned into something. Let's most of the clinics are meant to be for juniors. If they're here in the one place, they'll make friends and just create some harmony within the local area.
Very easy, not too hard.
We need to invest in our young people today.
These guys here, James, Silva, Tito, and David, they're here today to present you with a little gift for coming out.
They now have to make a new life in a peaceful, positive way.
Two separate people, different walks of life, tied together by Rotary. Investing in the youth and investing in our future, globally, not just here in the U.S., but globally. Fellow Rotarians, approximately 21,000 children, and this is according to UNICEF, and my statistics before about Sudan was UNICEF as well, just to quote appropriately. 21,000 children a year die from preventable diseases. And I'm talking about diseases you and I don't even worry about. Diseases as a result of living in conditions that are unsanitary, not having access to clean water. 21,000 children a year. That's approximately 23, one child every 23 minutes. But still, that's one child to me, isn't it? I think it is for us Rotarians. This next clip can be a tearjerker, but what it shows you is that the Rotary Foundation is investing in health for everyone. Post-Soviet Union days, late 80s, early 90s, there's a doctor in the Ukraine, his name is Dr. Yemets. He noticed that pediatric heart surgeries, heart conditions for children were improving in Western Europe and also in the US, but not for Ukrainian children. Ukrainian children were dying at unprecedented levels. Those children that were born with heart disease. Now there are a lot of mothers in this room, and you know it's a horrible thing when a baby is born into the world with a broken wing, and you can't fix it as a doctor. Well, Dr. Yemets partnered with Rotary in the Ukraine in 1992, and he performed successfully successfully a heart surgery on a 21-day-old infant. Now, what Rotary did for Dr. Yemets in 1992 was provided updated equipment and training necessary for him to accomplish this. Take a look.
In a very poor condition. We were using one monitor for 3 patients. It was explaining to parents that your child had no choice for life. That was a difficult time for me, and I was thinking, why comparing with the Western children, the Ukrainian children have no chance for surviving. So sad story with mother when she understands her child could die. We are trying to encourage the mother to be more optimistic. We are able to help. We were born by Rotary. That was 20 years ago. That was open the door for our success. Can you imagine on day 3 after delivery, I'm telling mother operation is done, everything is good, and she's happy.
Что мы так с таким диагнозом люди не живут, но мы живем, стараемся жить.
Состояние сердца, они могут жить и развиваться, как обычные дети. После проведенных операций живут полноценной жизнью.
Вони чудові люди, вони справжні герої України. Я їм страшенно вдячна.
There are some papa bears in here too. Mothers aren't the only ones that care. There are men in this room that care about their children. Let me share a brief story with you about my situation. A month ago, today, it was October 21st, I was being wheeled in for major surgery. I hadn't told my dad anything. Doctor walks into the room, has his laptop. My dad looked at an image similar to the one that Dr. Umetz was showing the mother who was crying. And he proceeded to tell my father the odds of me surviving the surgery, my condition. Now this is 30 days ago. Papa Bear almost fainted. I thought to myself, if I don't make it out of this, the world is a better place because I was here. Rotary is a part of that. So I can do this. Then they gave me that happy cocktail that knocked you out, and I did one of these, my dad told me, and they wheeled me away, and 8 hours later I woke up. But I say that to share with you that when I went under, I had the assurance as an American that I had the best doctor, because I researched him. I don't do what I do for a living for nothing. I researched him, knew more about him than he knew about me, knew his wife's name, but also, I did. But also, in addition to that, the best technology. We live in a great country, folks. I didn't have to do what a lot of people do. Like the mothers in the Ukraine, worry about the technology that's going to enable the surgeon to perform his job. That's why I share my story with you. It was hard going under, but I had confidence because I had the best at my side. The Rotary Foundation is ensuring that people around the world have that same assurance as well. And you need to know that as fellow Rotarians. The Rotary Foundation is asking every Rotarian to participate $100 every year. The goal this year for this Rotarian year is $120 million. And it can be accomplished if every Rotarian contributes $100. That's your choice. I know we're doing great things in this club. So you move forward as you see fit. We have 84 members who are participating monthly already. We have 48 who aren't, and you know who you are. It needs no further discussion. On your tables, there is an envelope. If you so choose to contribute today, whatever. If you elect annual share system, your contribution will go in 3 years to the World Fund, and it will be distributed to wherever the greatest need is. 50% of your contribution will come back to our district for projects and programs that Rotarians would like to put forth. So you need to know that. Also, if you contribute to eradicating polio, there are only 3 countries, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, that polio is still a menace in those countries. And in 2012, approximately 250 new cases of polio were discovered. That's small. And I know you've seen the advertisement that we are this close. If you contribute to eradicating polio, know this, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation partnered up with the Rotary Foundation. And for every dollar you contribute, they would contribute to. I just spoke about that. You can also go to the website, Rotary.org, and if you want to contribute annually, quarterly, that's your decision. Also at this site, you can discover more about the programs, the 6 areas of focus in the educational program. Why make Rotary your choice? Because we're Rotarians. According to the Better Business Bureau, the Rotary Foundation exceeds all 20 standards. In the United States alone, it's one of the premier charitable organizations. You need to know that. Not only that, there's diligent oversight of funds. Projects are local, they're international, and fellow Rotarians, we subscribe to the 4-way test. Last year I sat in front of you and I said, what will $100 provide? Same thing that it did last year. School supplies for children in Central America, 50 malaria tests, a biosand filter for a family in Peru, and training on how to use that filter for clean water. I researched the biosand filter. It's still about $100. You get that plus malaria testing and school supplies. $1,000 helps provide HIV antiretroviral drugs. For 1 year, 14 people for 1 year will receive these drugs. That's $1,400. The average cost is $100 for a year. Mobility for disabled youth and education for our youth in the U.S. on abuse, domestic abuse. Fellow Rotarians, you are part of 1.2 million people in the world doing good, and you should be proud of yourself. We're doing great things, locally and internationally. We met Maria last year from the Rotary Foundation helped get clean water. She has a biosand filter. Originally, we met today working with her community to uplift youth to become active citizens. We talked about pregnant women in Haiti, thanks to Rotary Foundation receiving medical care. We talked about the Peace Fellows helping women in India last year stand on their 2 feet. Rotary helped children in New Orleans go back to school after Hurricane Katrina. And you can't forget Douglas. He's a youth in Uganda who's orphaned because of AIDS, receiving health care at home. All because of the Rotary Foundation. We are reaching out to people all over the world. We see the invisible, and we are truly accomplishing the impossible, thanks to Rotarians and Friends of Rotary. Now, I'd just like to say to all of you, thank you for the children and the families that you touch every single day that can't be here in front of you. There are purple chocolate kisses on each table. Purple is a passion color, and I selected purple on purpose because Rotarians have a passion for mankind, a passion that surpasses many people. And you need to know that you're part of an elite that sees the invisible, accomplishing the impossible, and that is uplifting mankind. So thank you.